Welcome to this Post UTME Biology practice section. In this section, we'll tackle complex but exam-relevant biology questions that test not just your memories but also deepens your understanding of biological concepts. We will break down each one step by step so you can understand the why behind the answers. Stick with me to the end because there's a bonus question waiting for you, and I want you to try it out in the comments. Let's go. The first question we have here says, which of the following best explain why antibiotics are ineffective against viruses? Which of the following best explains why antibiotics are ineffective against viruses? Option A, viruses are resistant to all drugs. B, viruses lack cell walls and metabolic machineries. C, viruses are killed only by the immune system. And D, viruses mutate too rapidly. The correct option here is option B, viruses lack cell walls and metabolic machineries. Now pay attention, let's explain this in details. Antibiotics are chemicals designed to target bacterial structures and processes. For example, we have the penicillin, it attacks bacterial cell wall. We also have the tetracycline, they interfere with bacterial ribosomes to stop protein synthesis. Please note that viruses are not cells, they are simply nucleic acid, that is the DNA or RNA, wrapped in a protein coat. They have no cell walls, so drugs like penicillin have no target. They do not have ribosomes or enzymes for metabolism. Instead, they hijack the host cell's machinery. Thus, antibiotics can't touch them. That's why diseases like HIV or measles cannot be cured with antibiotics. Instead, antiviral drugs or vaccines are used. So, kindly note why antibiotics are ineffective against viruses. It is because viruses lack cell walls and metabolic machinery. That is option B. Question 2 says, which part of the brain controls balance and coordination of movements? Which part of the brain controls balance and coordination of movements? Option A, cerebrum. Option B, cerebellum. Option C, medulla oblongata. And option D, hypothalamus. The correct option here is option B, cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates muscular activities and maintains balance and posture. The cerebrum handles thinking, memory, and voluntary action. The medulla oblongata controls involuntary actions such as heartbeat and breathing. And then the hypothalamus regulates body temperature, hunger, and hormones. I will explain again for better understanding. The brain has specialized regions. One of them is the cerebrum. It is responsible for thinking, memory, voluntary actions such as writing and speech. We also have another region of the brain called the cerebellum. It is responsible for balance, posture, coordination of movements. Without it, a person will stagger like a drum. Yeah, it's really that important. We also have the medulla oblongata. It is responsible for involuntary processes like breathing, heartbeats, swallowing, and other involuntary actions. The next we have is the hypothalamus. It's a region of the brain that controls body temperature, hunger, thirst, and it links to the nervous system with the endocrine system. So when you ride a bicycle or walk without falling, it is your cerebellum doing the job. Question 3 says, in ecological succession, pioneer species are important because they dash. In ecological succession, pioneer species are important because they dash. A, eliminate predators from the area. B, prepare the environment for another organism. C, are always producers. And D, are the final stage of succession. The correct option there is option B, prepare the environment for other organisms. Now let's explain. When you hear the term pioneer species, what are pioneer species? Pioneer species are the first to colonize barren areas, like we have leeches on bare rock. They break down rock and they add organic matter and modify the environment, making it suitable for larger plants and animals. They are not the final stage. The final stage is what they call the climax community. Don't forget, ecological succession is the gradual change in species composition of an ecosystem. Pioneer species are the first organisms to colonize a barren environment. like bare rocks after volcanic eruption. Examples we have the leeches and the mosses. These are actually the first organisms to occupy barren or colonize the barren environments. Their importance is that 1. They break down rock into soil. 2. They add organic matter when they die. 3. They modify microclimate. Example, they retain the moisture of that environment. 4. They make conditions suitable for bigger plants like shrubs and trees. They are not the final stage. The climax community, which is a suitable forest, grassland or desert, is the final stage, and that is what they call the climax community. The next question we have here says, which blood component is responsible for clotting? Which blood component is responsible for clotting? Option A, we have red blood cells. B, we have white blood cells. C, plasma, and D, platelets. The correct option there is option D, platelets. That is the component of the blood that is responsible for blood clotting. Now let's explain the concept of the platelets. The platelets are tiny fragments of cells in blood that detect injury. When a blood vessel breaks, 4 things happen. 1. Platelets sticks to the surface cut. 2. They release chemicals that triggers the clotting. 3. Fibrinogen, which is a plasma protein, is converted into fibrin threads. And the last one is that it forms a mesh that traps blood cells, sealing the wound. Without platelets, people suffer from hemophilia, which is the inability to clot properly. The red blood cell only transports oxygen. White blood cell, on the other hand, fights infection, and plasma carries nutrients and hormone. So the correct option there is option B, platelets. Question 5 reads, which of the following is the most immediate effect of deforestation? Which of the following is the most immediate effect of deforestation? A. Loss of biodiversity. B. Soil erosion. C. Increase in atmospheric oxygen. And D. Formation of deserts. The correct option there is option B, soil erosion. Now, here's the concept. When trees are cut down, roots no longer hold the soil together. Rainfall easily washes away topsoil, leading to immediate soil erosion. Other effects are you have loss of biodiversity. This happens over time as animals lose their habitat. We also have desertification. It is a long-term effect when continuous erosion and lack of vegetation degrade the earth or the land. Oxygen actually decreases because fewer plants are available for photosynthesis. So the first and immediate problem is soil erosion, which is option B. Question 6 says, which of these is an example of adaptive radiation? Which of these is an example of adaptive radiation? Option A, bats and birds having wings. Option B, Darwin's finches evolving different beak shapes. C, a fish developing lungs for breathing. And option D, a moth changing color due to pollution. The correct option there is option B, Darwin's finches evolving different beak shape. Now when you hear the word adaptive radiation, what does it mean? Here's the concept. When a single ancestral species evolving into many different forms to occupy various ecological niches. That's what an adaptive radiation simply means. Darwin's finches on the Galapagos Island had one ancestor, but evolved different beak shape. 1. They have strong beaks for cracking seed. 2. They have long beaks for probing flowers. And 3. They have sharp beaks for eating insects. Other options like option A, C, and D. Bats and bird has what they call converging evolution. That's similar structures due to similar needs, not common ancestry. Fish with lungs is an adaptation and not radiation. And then the last option there, moths changing color, is a natural selection and not an adaptive radiation. So the correct option there is option B, Darwin's finches evolving different beak shapes. Question 7 says, The waxy layer that reduces water loss from the surface of leaves is called dash. The waxy layer that reduces water loss from the surface of leaves is called dash. A. Epidermis, B. Cortical, C. Stomata, and D. Mesophyll. The correct option there is option B. Cortical. The cortical is a thin waxy waterproof layer secreted by the epidermal cells of leaf. Its main role is to reduce water loss by evaporation. The epidermis, on the other hand, is the living protective tissue below the cortical. Option C, which is stomata. Stomatas are pores for gas exchange, and it is controlled by guard cells. The final option, which is option D, the mesophyll, is the inner tissue of the leaf where photosynthesis occurs. Hence, without a cortical, plants will dry up quickly. So take note, the correct option there is cortical. It is the waxy layer that reduces water loss from the surface of leaves. Question 8 says, why is blood circulation in humans described as double circulation? Why is blood circulation in humans described as double circulation? Option A, blood passes through the heart twice for each circuit of the body. B, there are two types of blood vessels. C, blood moves at two different speeds. And D, the body has two hearts working together. Wow, I don't know the body has two hearts working together. Now, the correct option to this question is option A. Blood passes through the heart twice for each circuit of the body. Now, let's give a detailed explanation to this. Humans are warm-blooded animals and need a highly efficient oxygen supply. Our circulation has two loops. One is called the pulmonary circulation and the other is called the systematic circulation. Now, for pulmonary circulation, blood moves from the heart to the lungs and the lungs back to the heart. For systematic circulation, blood moves from the heart to the body and from the body back to the heart, thus in one complete circle. Blood enters the heart twice. This ensures efficient supply of blood for warm-blooded animals like humans. It is also a reason why mammals and birds have four-chambered hearts. Take note that pulmonary circulation, the oxygenated blood goes to the lungs and oxygen is picked up from there. While in systematic circulation, oxygenated blood is pumped to all tissues of the body. Question 9 says, which process is unique to meiosis and not mitosis? Which process is unique to meiosis and not mitosis? Option A, we have DNA replication. Option B, we have chromosome alignment at the equator. C, we have crossing over between homologous chromosomes. And D, we have cytokinetics. Now let's explain. Crossing over happens only in prophase 1 of meiosis. Homologous chromosomes exchange segment of DNA. This increases genetic variation. The DNA replication occurs in both, that's before cell division. The chromosome alignment and cytokinetics occurs in both. This makes meiosis essential for producing gametes with unique genetic combination. So don't forget, the correct option is option C, crossing over between homologous chromosomes. Question 10 says, what is the role of the mRNA in protein synthesis? What is the role of the mRNA in protein synthesis? Option A, it carries amino acids. Option B, it serves as a template. Option C, it catalyzes bonds. And option D, it stores genetic info. The correct option there is option B, it serves as a template for assembling amino acids. Please kindly note that this mRNA simply means messenger RNA. What it does is that it carries the genetic code from the DNA to the ribosomes. The tRNA, which is the transfer RNA, brings amino acids to ribosomes. We also have the rRNA. It stands for the ribosomal RNA. It helps to catalyze peptide bond formation, and the DNA stores the genetic information but does not leave the nucleus. So the correct option there is option B. It serves as a template for assembling amino acid. That is the role of the mRNA. Don't forget, the messenger RNA in protein synthesis. Now we have our bonus question for today. It says, why is transpiration important in plants? Why is transpiration important in plants? Option A, it helps in pollination. B, it aids in the absorption and upward movement of water and minerals. C, it prevents photosynthesis from occurring. And D, it directly produces glucose. Think carefully before answering. Now, let me give you a simple hint. Consider the role of transpiration in water movements. That is the cohesion tension theory, and cooling in the plant. Now, great work. We have completed another round of the complex Post UTME biology practice. Remember, Post UTME questions are not always about recall. They test your ability to connect ideas, analyze and explain biological phenomena clearly. Keep practicing sets like this daily. The more you train your brain to think in explanation mode, the better you perform under exam conditions. If you enjoyed this practice session, share it with your friends who are also preparing, and don't forget to attempt the bonus question. Your success is in your consistency.